from the flight deck. This is the Plane Jockeys Podcast, where we dig into some of the stories and personalities you've seen on Airline Videos live. Our estimated time en route is, well, however long these guys want to chat. Now sit back and relax and enjoy the show. It's a lot more fun than reading the safety card. I promise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Airline Videos Live Plane Jockeys Podcast. I am Plane Jockey Kevin, and joined once again by fellow Plane Jockey Rudy.
Hello, everybody. So good to be here for episode 4. Thanks for tuning in today. You're in for a special treat.
Yes, indeed, and we've taken the show on the road. We are broadcasting from outside the In-N-Out Burger along Sepulveda, just outside of Los Angeles International Airport. So you're going to be hearing the ambience of LA traffic mixed in with the planes flying over our head and taking off on the 2-4s right behind us. Should be a good time. And Rudy's signaling me that there is a plane currently flying over our head. Oh, yes, that's what we like.
Yes, did you like that?
Oh,
Awesome.
yes. Well, that's not all. We are joined today by special guest, Stig Aviation. Stig, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. It's a wonderful, beautiful day, and couldn't find a better way to spend it out with you guys and talk about airplanes.
Absolutely. Now,
Awesome.
There's probably a lot of people that don't know exactly who you are. Can you explain to us who is Stig Aviation?
Absolutely. Well, Stig Aviation. I am Stig, and I am an aircraft maintenance technician. I fix airplanes. For most people that do know me, that see my content, they kind of can figure out who I work for. Obviously, I work for American Airlines,
right.
But I do not represent them. But I do love to teach about airplanes.
Yes, absolutely. And can you kind of explain to us how this all began? Let's start with there. Start with the beginning.
Yeah, how'd you get into it?
I get into it. That's a good one. So prior to being an aircraft mechanic, I was actually an auto mechanic. I used to fix cars. And even before that, I was actually not even going to be a mechanic. I was going to be a doctor, believe it or not. Yeah. But that didn't work out. What ended up happening is me and my dad went to, let me back up here. My dad took me to an aircraft maintenance technician school.
Wow.
And as soon as I stepped into that school, because I was looking for something to do with my life. And as soon as he took me, that was it. That was love at first sight. The smell of metal, the smell of the airplanes.
Right.
It just fell in love with it. And as they say, the aviation bug bit me. And once that bites you, that's it. It's over.
And how old were you at that point?
Let's see. I was 21, 22.
Wow.
Or somewhere
All
around
right.
there.
Pretty early on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been even 20. I can't remember.
So the bug hits you.
Yeah.
And what do you do next?
What do you do next? Went to school. The school took about 2 years. It was a school right here in Los Angeles. It used to be called Northrop Rice.
Oh, okay.
Now they changed up the name of it. I believe it's called Spartan. It's right off of Aviation Boulevard.
Okay.
So went to school about 2 years, and I had a fantastic time. I loved every single moment of it. And after which you take tests, which are federal tests. This is to get your airframe and power plant certificate. And once you pass all these tests, which is the airframe, the power plant, the general, as well as the oral and practicals, then you're a fully fledged aircraft maintenance technician certified to work on any type of aircraft within the United States.
Just like that.
Just like that.
So what happens after that? After you graduate?
After that, you go and find a job.
The real world.
The real world.
And the real world was calling, and where did you end up?
Well, when I did get my license, I was fortunate enough to automatically get hired by a major airline, but misfortune struck.
Oh, yes.
And we know what misfortune within aviation we're talking about here.
Yes, 2001. Yes,
exactly.
indeed.
Yeah. So when that happened, my application might as well have been null.
Wow.
They ripped it up, and I might as well have never been hired. So what ended up happening is I had no choice but to go out to the desert, because guess what was happening? Airplanes were being parked, right?
Oh,
Right.
Yes.
So the only place that did have jobs were aircraft graveyards. And I got a job out in George Air Force Base. That being said, I had to move out there because driving from LA to George Air Force Base is no picnic.
Where is George Air Force Base?
Victorville.
Victorville, okay.
Yep. So went out there, and that's where I started. And it sounds, like a punishment or something like that going out there, but I was very fortunate because at the beginning stages of my career, I got to touch and work on the biggest airplanes you could. And most people don't get to do that. So me there, zero experience.
As the planes fly over our head.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
With me there, zero experience, not knowing what I'm doing, and getting to work on some of the most iconic aircraft that has ever flown. Everything from 727s, L-1011s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So cool.
747s. The first airplane that I actually even pushed back was a 747.
Wow.
So, we're going to talk about what you're currently doing, and just it amazes me, how you can go from a 777 to an A321 and back forth and all these different planes. Since you worked on the 727s, the L-1011, talk about the difference between those early planes and the planes now. Is it like night and day?
Oh, it's complete night and day. From a mechanic standpoint, for us, we tend to think in very basic terms and logic, bolts, nuts and bolts. It's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But when it comes down to the technology of the airplane and looking and working on older aircraft and now working on these modern jets, it is night and day. What you see here is now in modern day, like these Airbuses and the 787s, they're literally flying computers.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Right.
But then you go back and look at the history, a lot more analog, which is still flying today, the 737, even the most modern one, the Maxes. Still, that's remnants of 1960s technology, so it's still there.
Right.
It's just upgraded with lots of pretty avionics.
Wow. So, would you rather be working on those old ones or the new ones?
Oh, the new ones, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I did enjoy working on the old ones. It's a big, big learning curve.
Yeah.
You get used to it, and you start understanding the basics of the systems, but then you upgrade, you start working on these modern jets, which are a lot more smarter and a lot more mechanic friendly.
Right. Right. Wow. So you're out at this Air Force Base working on 727s, L-1011s. Then what?
And then after about 3 years of hanging out there, finally the industry starts picking back up. Thank goodness.
Good.
Yeah. So as soon as that happens, openings start coming up in LAX. I'm like, yes, finally, go back home now.
Right.
I don't have to be out there in the desert anymore. Finally get the job, a contract work. I didn't get on the airlines right away. It was just basic contract work, and got back to LA. Started working on cargo side, first of all.
Okay.
So I was working contract with Coletta, Polar, Atlas at the time, and then got on with a small little operation called Gearbook. I think they were out of Greensboro. And they had their old 737s and 727 cargo conversions.
Wow.
Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I used to work those, yeah.
Wow.
So I did that for a while, and they also had a little subcontract for RJs that were from Mesa that were flying for America West.
Yes. Oh, yes. I remember those. Oh, yes.
Okay, so here's how it goes. Long story short, basically the operation where I was working at, the contract, folded.
Oh.
At the same time, I had already put in an application for America West.
America West.
Yep. And as soon as, this was by luck, by sheer luck, by the way, the aviation gods smiled upon my face. And as soon as the contract operation folded and they basically went belly up, the next day, America West calls me, said, "Would you like a job?" I said, "Yes, please."
Wow.
And they said, "We haven't even told you how much we're going to pay you." I'm like, "I don't care. Just, can I please have a job?"
Wow. I mean, that is some timing
Luck.
right there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Luck. Exactly. So, and then after that, I think if everybody is up to date on mergers and acquisitions and how airlines work, from America West to where I am now.
Which would be U.S. Air and then
American
U.S.
Air.
Airways and then American.
Exactly,
Wow.
yeah. So, let's see now. 3 airlines in less than 10 years.
So you moved from Terminal 1 to Terminal 4.
Oh, no. Terminal 1 to Terminal 2 to Terminal 3 to Terminal 6 to Terminal 5 and now Terminal 4. And
oh, my gosh.
I've been all over the airport.
You've seen it all. Wow. Oh, my gosh. So here we are now at LAX. Mm-hmm. Current day. So what everyone... I mean, you're just a mechanic over there working on planes for the most part until, a few years ago, you start thinking about maybe doing some social media?
Yeah, exactly. It was amidst the pandemic, obviously, and the schedule wasn't as busy as it is now. Everything's picking back up now. Everybody's flying.
Right.
And most of our airplanes were still kind of in temporary storage, and we were just rotating them out. And I figured, let me do something. I mean, we're kind of sitting around here, we're doing our work, and I wanted to show the airplanes. It's something that I love. I'm very passionate about it, and I love fixing these airplanes. I said, you know what, let me share this with the world. Let me share what I do, a view from the mechanic's perspective, because it's very seldomly seen. Most people will never even encounter an aircraft mechanic, let alone ask him questions or see what's underneath that airplane or inside of it.
Yeah.
So I say to myself, you know what, let's start simple. And I started in TikTok and started showing educational content. At first it was little goofy stuff, and then I transitioned to more of showing and teaching of why these airplanes are so safe, the redundancy systems, and the reaction was overwhelming. I did not realize people were so interested in aircraft themselves and why they work the way they work.
Right.
So, and it just kind of took off.
Interesting. All right. Well, we were talking a little beforehand. So I think the one question, maybe somebody sees this on TikTok and you're talking about the plane doing this and it does this. I think the first question someone might have is like, well, how is he allowed to show the planes like that?
Well,
right.
Great question.
That is a great question. It's quite simply answered. There is no rule against showing airplanes. These airplanes are not some kind of secret.
Right.
These airplanes have extensive information online for free. You can simulators. How's that for you?
Right.
There's simulators out there. You can do anything and anything to these airplanes.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is how even pilots learn to fly.
Right.
Now, what I show is a little bit more detail of how airplanes work, which is also public knowledge.
Right.
You just have to dig a little further. You have to want to learn how these work.
Right.
But most people, they don't. They just assume it works because it works. And this is why I introduce myself as aircraft maintenance.
Right.
We fix this. We see this on a daily basis, and I want to give people the reassurance that why these airplanes are safe, and this is why I show what I show.
Yeah, people aren't always talking about your videos. They're like, did you see Stig the other day? He was pulling out a chair on an A321, or he was looking for an AirPod that was stuck in between two seats. I mean, people really dig this stuff.
Yeah, because they don't see it every day. It's
exactly. Yes, those are things that we don't get to see, and I think it's so cool that you have that access and you can share it with us. Of course, I want to make sure to point out that you're recording these videos when you have quote-unquote downtime. It's not like when you're in the middle of something like a big project, so to speak.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, safety is number one. I want to reiterate that one,
absolutely.
Over and over again. Safety is number one factor. So when you see me filming something, or if I point a camera at something, know the fact that I have time. I'm not rushing anywhere. I know I have ample amount of time. I can airplanes. I have time to pull out my camera. I have time to talk about it because I do. And why not? Right. Why not show something very basic, very simple, and talk about it? But trust me, when it comes to crunch time, when I'm pushing an airplane out, or not pushing it, when I'm turning airplanes, and it's rush, trust me, that phone is nowhere near me.
Right.
I am focused on my job. So it's only when I can, how I can. And if I can't, oh well, then I can't.
The thing that amazes me, and I watch many of your videos, and there was one video where you're in the belly of a Dreamliner, and you're just showing the wires just galore going everywhere, and I'm thinking, how in the world do you even know what you're looking at or what you're doing? And I guess a follow-up question to that is, I mean, you go from one kind of plane, from a Dreamliner to an A321 to I was going to say 757, but you guys don't even have those anymore.
No,
but you know what I'm saying? I mean, you go literally from one plane to another, and you know your way around these.
So the first question is the belly of the 787 or the E&E bay. That's what it's called, the equipment bay.
Yeah.
So this is basically where all your avionics is housed. And you ask yourself, it looks overwhelming to somebody that's never seen it. It's just this jumble of wires, and it looks like a mess, and it looks so fragile, right?
Yes.
Believe it or not, it's not. It's very durable. It's very well built as well.
Okay.
And the way we, as maintenance, know what's going on is manuals.
Okay.
So one thing most people fail to recognize is that we don't know everything. It's impossible for me to know every single system and understand how everything works.
Yeah.
But we know how to access it.
Okay.
We know how to access the proper manuals. This is where true aircraft maintenance comes to shine. It's understanding how to access the proper information and having that common sense and logic to properly troubleshoot something.
Right.
So that's how we get around that big jumble of mess. So let's say if there's like a broken wire or something going on.
Right.
Guess what? Yeah, I saw it, or I found it, or I know the airplane is telling me something's wrong.
Right.
I go straight to my manuals, my aircraft maintenance manuals, troubleshooting manuals, and the manuals are so well written in this modern day and age that it guides me.
Okay.
And then the rest is a bit, mechanical knowledge and just intuition of knowing how to, fix something, basically.
The plane kind of talks to you too, right?
Oh, yeah.
You were showing the brakes were hot on an A321, and it actually printed out.
Oh, yeah.
The airplane actually printed out and said, my brakes are hot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these airplanes will talk to you. They will tell you exactly what's going on with them. They are very smart. Very, very smart. And not only does it talk to me, it talks to itself. Okay. That's why I always reiterate redundancy.
Right.
There's a backup to a backup to a backup. So multiple computers, multiple systems, all talking to each other, making sure everything needs to work correctly. And if something goes wrong, these computers are like tattletales. They're like, hey, this guy's not doing what it's supposed to. Here's a fault message for you.
So on an average 8-hour shift, how many different aircrafts are you working on?
Almost sometimes I get stuck on narrow bodies and I'm just working Airbuses all day long. Sometimes a 37 will come in, do that. On a super busy day, I will work on the whole fleet the same day.
Wow.
So everything from 777, 787, Airbus, every kind of Airbus, 319, 20, 21 Neos, and the 737. I've had those days where I've touched every single one. And to answer your other question, when you run from one airplane to the other, that takes a bit of you getting used to. Sometimes it's you have to pause. Running from a 787 and then running to a 737 and then going into an Airbus. And having your brain go from one system to another system to another. It's you have to take a pause and kind of close your eyes and okay, I'm in a different airplane. It works differently. I mean, I know with the systems, the basics of it,
right?
But you have to kind of take a breath and okay, what's the problem? And then fix it.
Is there one currently that you work on where you're you get the notice that, so-and-so needs fixed on this, and you're oh, thank God it's the A321 Neo. Is there a plane that you're just okay, no worries. Piece of cake.
Yeah, that's usually the 321.
Okay.
Any 320 series aircraft or the family. Yeah, those are very simple to work on. I enjoy that airplane very, very much.
Interesting. And that's pretty much, the future of American, at least
Oh, yeah, it's future for everybody. The running joke of, I'm going to bring it up. I'm sure everybody's just going to cringe when I say this. If it's not Boeing, I'm not going.
Right?
Okay. Anybody that ever tells me that and I say that, I'm well, you're not going to be going many places, my friend. Majority of the industry is dominated by these Airbuses, and, that's just facts.
Interesting.
Is there a particular aircraft type that you kind of look at and you're oh no, now I have to work on this one, or maybe it's a little bit more challenging to work on, or...
They all have a certain level of challenge, but the good old plastic princess.
No.
The 787.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's a wonderful airplane, incredibly smart airplane, but when it does have a malfunction, it's not as easy to play with. It's a very finicky airplane, very sensitive. You have to be very precise with it and very careful with it.
So
but it's still a good airplane. So.
Yeah. Well, what is the most challenging work that you had to do recently in recent? Was it tearing up that seat? I was watching. We were like, wow, that's crazy. You had to tear the seat out of the,
That's a laborious work.
Yeah.
Those seats are heavy, right?
No, actually they're not.
They're not.
No,
okay.
the seats are actually very light. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all aluminum and plastic.
So that's why they're so uncomfortable at times.
Yeah. Well, that's. Don't blame me for that one. That's the bean counters.
I mean, was there like a job where you're just like, oh, this is never going to end. This is taking forever. I just can't.
Troubleshooting. As smart as airplanes can be, sometimes airplanes are a little bit too smart for their own good.
Okay.
How can I put this? Troubleshooting is the most challenging thing.
Right.
Understanding what the airplane is trying to tell you sometimes is not as easy as you think.
Okay.
Especially when it comes down to wiring and understanding what system is talking to other systems and where the problem is truly lies. Because anybody can change parts out. Parts changing is the easy part.
Right.
Because I can change a box out or a computer box or change a tire or a landing gear, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's just laborious work. We just follow manuals. The hard part comes in. The most challenging part is the troubleshooting itself.
Okay.
Figuring out the actual problem, the real problem. So, for most cases, that's the hardest part.
So not every day the plane's going to print out a piece of paper and say, I'm not feeling good. This is what's going on with me. It's not as easy as hot brakes.
Step 1, 2, 3. This is what you got to do.
I mean, most of the time, the troubleshooting manuals will guide you through a predictable process because it's happened before, and the engineers that write those manuals, they've seen it before. So they give you like a flow chart of what you should do step by step. But then you have to take a little bit of intuition as a mechanic or as an engineer. Talking to my European counterparts because they call them engineers over there.
Similar to like pilots have their checklists.
Yes.
If there's an engine fire, do this, then this, and this.
Yes,
wow,
exactly.
Okay.
So everything takes steps, and then once again, at one point or another, it goes into a bit of a intuition and understanding the aircraft and what it does, and how it does it, and its logic, and then you can start deducing what the problem is. So if it's, let's say, a bad wire or a bad box or something is malfunctioning, you can kind of guide your way into it.
Wow, bad wire. With all those wires I've seen in your videos, how do you...
They're all numbered.
If there is a bad wire...
They're all numbered.
Oh, okay.
They are all numbered. And the airplane is smart enough to tell me if there's a malfunction within that system. And the manuals will guide us to what we call ring wires, which is basically checking resistance between a certain point to another point. So that will kind of isolate a certain bundle of wires and kind of pinpoint where it is.
That's good.
And then you just go and do the actual manual work where you're pulling apart wiring bundles and actually visually inspecting. And this is the part where I say mechanics' ability to be a mechanic and understand what you're looking at, as in, hey, I'm looking at a wire. This wire doesn't look right, like it's chafed or it's cut or, things like that.
I mean, it sounds like it's just like working on a car, right?
Yeah, but believe it or not, actually working on airplanes is a lot easier than working on cars.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, and why?
I can't stand working on cars. I used to work on cars, and I can't stand working on cars.
What is it about working on cars that's harder than working on an airplane?
Their manuals are horrible, and then cars, there's not much space to work in.
Oh, right.
And just the computer systems on the cars, they become so intricate that you can't really do anything with it by yourself. You have to take it to the dealer. Right? So
But I mean, this is what you love to do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
You wouldn't want to be doing anything else. Now wait, let's go back. You said you were going to almost be a doctor.
Oh, that's old news. That's old news. Yeah, no, not going to happen. But
I guess I'm asking is it ever a thought of like, at some point I'm going to get tired of working on these planes and then, you know what, I might just go become a doctor.
No, never.
No,
I can never get tired of these airplanes. I can walk around these airplanes and touch them and look at them, and it just puts a big smile on my face. And I'm never bored. Yeah. I'm never bored, and I'm never sitting inside, or even when I'm on my downtime, I'm always walking around. I'm
Yeah. I mean, you're never looking at your clock and saying, I got another couple hours until I'm off the clock.
Nah,
no.
Never. It's just, I know when I'm off the clock. I mean, when I know when I need to clock out, obviously, but most of the time I'm either hanging out by the airplanes or reading manuals. And that's the thing people find very strange about me. I will sit there and I will read manuals for fun.
Wow.
Even when I'm home. It's just because I find enjoyment in understanding more about the systems. Remember when I told you I don't know everything?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. I don't know everything.
Right.
But I know where to access it.
Right.
And that's what I do. Because for me, constantly learning of what the airplane is doing and understanding a little more about the subsystems, it just not only makes me a better mechanic, it gives me joy of my craft.
Yeah.
And I learn more about these airplanes.
Wow.
It really comes across, though, in going through your Instagram and looking at all your videos. I mean, I could see the passion, the desire to want to learn more, the desire to, I mean, you're so knowledgeable with all, it kind of seems to me as an outsider, so to speak, that you know so much about all these airplanes, and it's always so interesting to watch, and you explain things in such a way that anybody can understand. It's not all this, technical lingo that is hard to understand.
And I'm glad you brought that up. I'm really glad you brought that up. And that was my key. That was the whole point behind when I did start this. Because when I went through schools and training courses and getting type certified and all this safety stuff, one thing stood out to me is like, why can't we just simplify this? And that's what I figured. I said, let me explain this in a very simple manner where everybody can understand. I don't care if you're 10 years old or 50 years old. I'll put it in such a way where you'll just get it, and it'll be fun for you.
Yeah.
So
that's important, yeah, because I think that speaks to your success on your social media accounts, because people come across your content and they tune in and they go, oh, I understand what's going on here. This is really interesting. And I think for me, being a passenger, I mean, I have a lot of fears of flying. Being able to know what goes into maintaining an airplane, making sure that it's safe, like you mentioned earlier, I think that puts a lot of peace for me, and I'm sure that does the same thing for a lot of people who come across your content. So, wonderful stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. And one thing you brought up again, which is actually really cool, and this makes me feel really good. People get in contact with me, and they tell me they got over the fear of flying, or they're more confident in flying because they know the safety features now.
Yeah.
They know why it's so safe to fly. And that just puts the biggest smile on my face.
Oh, that's great.
That and just aspiring mechanics that are coming up through the ranks or going to school now, that is a very big sense of pride for me, because I want to get them off on the right foot to walk into this industry with not only pride for their work, as well as enthusiasm of knowing that this is what you're going to be capable of doing when you start working.
Right.
So that's a big thing for me.
Wow.
I'm kind of curious, do you ever, I don't know how often you fly, but when you do fly, do you find yourself kind of going through your mind, oh, I know what's going on, oh, this is happening, this certain part of the airplane is moving? Or have you ever come across a time where you knew something wasn't right and you knew exactly what was going on?
Yeah,
okay. Actually, yes. And I do fly quite often because obviously I work for an airline,
right,
and we get the the flight benefits and whatnot. So usually flying around the country, having fun. But majority of the time, when it's obviously everything's normal, everything's safe, and I do think about it, my brain does go in that mechanic mode of I know exactly what's happening and why it's happening at that particular moment.
That's so cool.
But that's usually happening on takeoff and landing because those are the most critical times on flight.
Right.
When it's in the air, I'm just relaxing, watching a movie, enjoying myself. But yeah, when you ask, have I noticed something when something went wrong? Yeah, one time I was flying, I was from JFK. I was flying out of JFK and going to Boston. And we landed, and when we landed, and I was sitting next to the window, and I'd noticed something. One of the thrust reversers didn't deploy.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I automatically noticed it. I'm like, and I wasn't worried because, first of all, if you guys seen that video with the thrust, you don't need thrust reversers to stop. The brakes, brakes are strong enough to stop an aircraft in an emergency. All thrust reversers do is help.
Right.
But I noticed it, and I was like, that didn't open. So I called a few of my buddies, and Sure enough, they're like, yeah, it's malfunctioned. It didn't open.
Wow.
So that would have been written up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The pilots would have written it up. So there was documentation of that.
Everything is documented. Yeah.
Wow.
Documentation is the most important thing in aviation. By the way, a job could take 5 minutes and about 15 minutes of paperwork.
And now, if you had been there working, you would have known how to fix that, or you would have fixed that.
Yeah, pretty much. It's, again, all manuals. Walk in there and open up the manuals, print out what the airplane is saying, what's its malfunction, and then proceed on forward and do an operational check.
I mean, did you have a thought about getting off the plane and getting back down on the tarmac and looking at the...
No? I'm a passenger. I just enjoy it. When I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock.
All right. Excellent. Wow. This is fascinating, right?
Absolutely.
So much more to come here on the 4th episode of the Plane Jockeys Podcast. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Stig Aviation.
Folks, again from the flight deck, we hope you're enjoying those luxurious seats and plentiful complimentary beverages. Oh, right, it's a podcast. Well, then we hope you're enjoying the banter. Stay tuned for more.
Oh, more! They want more of the story, Rudy. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, Stig, is if you watch you on TikTok and Instagram, you actually cover your face. And I think a lot of people are like, what's up with that? What's going on? We want to see Stig's face.
Yeah, the face. Oh, my goodness. That's a never-ending story. The face reveal. Give us the face reveal.
Is it going to happen?
I don't know. But is it important? This is the question I always ask people, and I always find it comical because when they start actually thinking about it and they come back to me, they're like, well, yeah, it's not important. And the question I ask them all the time is, well, would it matter? Would it matter about anything that I'm saying if you see my face? Would it matter?
Right.
And they think about it. They're like, wait, no, it actually wouldn't matter. Who cares what your face looks like? And then it dawns on them like, hey, it doesn't really matter what my face looks like as long as the information that I'm giving you, you get it, you understand it, and now you know more.
I mean, that's the thing you're doing. You're educating. It's not about me. Look at me.
Yeah,
no, it's about I want you to know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm not. I never started this for a popularity contest. I never cared for any of that. It's just, for me, it's just, hey, check this out. I want to show you something really cool,
right?
And you might learn something fun, or take away something positive, or who knows? You might want to be part of the aviation industry, and this is a glimpse into it. So,
Do you get emails and such from people saying, Stig, you're amazing. I mean, your videos just made it such a huge difference in my life, as we have a Dreamliner flying over our head.
That's the plastic princess right there.
Plastic princess.
Yes.
Can I start using that in the live streams? I don't know. I'll probably get a bunch of emails saying, "Oh, how dare you!"
Just point him towards me. Tell him Stig did it. I'll take the heat.
All right.
But yes, I have. To answer your question, yes, absolutely. I have had lots of amazing people just message me, inspired. Not that I'm some kind of a inspirational person or anything like that. I'm just somebody who shows something that I enjoy, that I love, and that translated into somebody else's passion.
Yeah.
And now they want to do something, whether it be, because I've had people say, wow, that's amazing, I love it, but I want to be a pilot. And you know what? I said, all the power to you. Go be a pilot. And I'll give them the resources. I'll point them to people who are pilots who do the inspirational things for people who want to be pilots. Right. So yeah, I have had lots of good people tell me these things, and it humbles me, and it makes me feel good that I can help the aviation community.
And not only are you doing maintenance related TikToks and Instagrams, you also had a live cooking segment on TikTok.
He's gonna bring that up.
Still waiting for that dinner invite.
I know, exactly.
I should have brought some pots and pans out here to cook for you guys.
I mean, here's the thing I took away from that. When I first started watching you cook, I was like, the way you were cutting the onions and the tomatoes, I said, this guy knows how to cook. I mean, this is some serious, this is a professional chef. Do you have any training in that?
None at all. I'm not a professional anything. I just enjoy cooking because it's a one of my other passions besides aviation. I enjoy making good food and experimenting with it and just having fun. And that was one of my lives that I do on TikTok. I haven't done it in a while. I know my audience is quite upset.
Bring it back.
I know. I'll promise you. I will.
So, I mean, you like to read the maintenance manuals. Do you like to read cookbooks? Is that your inspiration for a lot of these cooking segments?
Let's see. Not cookbooks, but more of just reading online. Just, recipes nowadays.
Right.
Everything's online. So I'll go in there and I'll pull up, let's say I'm making a rack of lamb or something like that, right? And then I'll pull up a bunch of recipes and then I'll
which, by the way, didn't go off very well that one time.
No, that was the pork.
Oh, the pork. Whatever you made, it didn't go over very well.
that one didn't come out good. That was the one time you were there and you were like, oh my God.
I missed that one.
Good. I'm glad. But no, I'll just pick and choose between recipes and whatever looks fun and just, make something fun. New.
I mean, it's obviously an outlet for you, but I would assume that what you do for a living and kind of cooking, it kind of blends together. It's like this: you're using your hands, creating something, fixing something. It's kind of like, I would assume, kind of goes hand in hand.
That's pretty cool. I never really thought about it that way. I like that. Thank you.
All right, so bring back the cooking segments.
I will.
I think a lot of people like those.
I will.
Yeah, and if you ever want to come to one of our live shows and do a little cooking on the side, we always joke about that. You're all more than welcome to.
You can be in charge of the craft service table. How about that?
Bring a little hibachi grill and cook up some nice steaks.
Yes. I mean, outside of, you're always working. You're always working. Every time Stig, what are you doing? Can we get you on the live show? Oh, I'm working. I mean, you're always working, right?
It's funny when you guys are doing your live show. I sent Rudy a video yesterday.
Yes, you did.
I'm standing right across the ramp, and I'm like, "Hey, there you are!" I zoom in over there on the hill. I tend to like to work, and the thing is, I don't call it work. I have fun. I don't see myself as, when I say going to work, I go to work. Obviously, you get paid,
right?
But I enjoy it. It's not something that's like, oh my God, I got to go to work. Why? There are people like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people just don't enjoy their job anymore. But for me, when I clock in, I'm just smile. I'm ear to ear smiles. But don't get me wrong, there are frustrations. It is a job. It's a demanding job.
Right.
And there are times where it's difficult. Dealing with not only broken airplanes, logistics, parts not being available, or just malfunctions, and trying to get the airplane out on time. And then obviously these people are our customers.
Right.
The people on board, the souls on board are the customers.
Right.
And you want a happy customer. And on top of that, you want a safe airplane.
I would assume you sometimes have to get on the plane, and the plane's already full of people, and you have to get on, and you're fixing something. I can imagine all these eyeballs are looking at you like, come on, I got to get to Florida. What are you doing?
Oh, absolutely. There's been so many instances, and, there's been times where I had to ground aircraft.
Oh.
And I hate doing that. I can't stand doing that. But you know what? I rather you not go anywhere and be safe, because I will not put you ever, nor any other mechanic. Nobody will ever put you on an airplane that's not good to fly. And that's priority number one, is safety.
Right.
And it's the passenger safety. So
I have a question to bring awareness to speed tape. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that has been making its rounds on social media, and people think it's duct tape. And they, of course, when you see that makes you a little nervous. Like, really? You're just going to hold pieces together with duct tape?
Well, I was going to say, it seems you can see it more on the American planes delivery than other planes.
Oh, they're on every airplane.
No, I know, but for whatever reason, we really notice it on the American livery.
Maybe the paint.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we were starting to see a lot of that on the 737-800s. That's when we started seeing it on the live show, and we were like, well, what is that? And we were talking about the speed tape. But yeah, I mean,
okay, so you know what? You're inspiring me to make a whole video for that. So remember that one. I'll make a whole video, but I'll explain it here as well. So speed tape. And everybody likes to get that image of a mechanic putting tape on an engine cowling or a wing, and they'll throw it on social media, and everybody will say something silly or whatnot, and I'll have to go find it, or I'll get tagged in it a million times and everybody say, "Stay, go, please fix this, go correct
something about it."
Yeah. And then I'll say to them, it's not duct tape, it's speed tape.
Right.
Speed tape is made out of aluminum. It's aluminum tape.
Okay.
And And it's rated to stick on surfaces very well and to create a smooth airfoil. Now, it's not holding an airplane parts together. It's not. Only reason we put speed tape on is for deteriorating panels most of the time. Okay, so what does that mean? So these airplanes we watch flying around, they go through lots of punishment when they're going through altitude and temperature changes and just in general the environment. So if I point, let's say, a piece of plastic in the wind going 400 miles an hour with snow and hail and just dust, what do you think is going to happen to the leading edge of that piece of plastic?
Yeah.
It's going to erode eventually, right?
Right.
Pieces are going to start slowly eroding.
Right.
We look for this. We inspect for this. And that's where speed tape comes in.
Okay.
It's not holding the airplane together. And by the way, panels don't hold the airplane together either. They're just aerodynamic panels. They create the smooth surface.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's a whole substructure that is holding the airplane together. Those exterior panels, they're not there to hold the airplane together.
Gotcha.
So when we see these deteriorating factors, we will put speed tape on it. Another factor would be, let's say, a panel got broken for one reason or another. That panel is no longer usable, but we can secure that panel closed and tape it up.
Okay.
Because we rather have the panel closed and not create obstruction or, any kind of bad wind flow going over it. So we close it, we tape it up nice and secure, off she goes. And it's very legal.
And safe.
And safe.
And how does it look like? Does it come in a box or a roll?
It's a
It
roll.
just rolls out. It just, is it sticky on both sides?
No,
just
it's
kind of describe what it looks like.
Okay. First of all, it's silver.
Okay.
It's silver tape. Imagine a piece of duct tape. It looks like a roll of duct tape,
Okay.
but it's not. It's metal. It's very thin aluminum that's one-sided sticky. It's not double-sided sticky. So you peel it out. You got to be very careful because it's extremely sharp on both ends.
Ooh.
You can cut your fingers really easily.
Yikes.
Ouch.
Yeah, done it many times.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not fun. But anyway, you just peel it out just like a regular piece of tape, and you stick it on, and then you get like a plastic squeegee, and you kind of conform it to the the panel, so it's nice and smooth and flush. So you get nice airflow over it.
So does it come in different colors? So
Silver.
Just silver.
Always silver.
So how come we never see it on like a white plane? It doesn't come in white?
No, it doesn't come. No, it doesn't come in white.
Okay.
Not that I've seen. I mean, I've been fixing for almost 23 years. I've never seen
no white speed tape.
No white speed tape.
Well, now I'm thinking maybe it's not as commonly used as we might think, or
Very common.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Oh yeah, speed tape is on every single airplane. I'm sure. There's every single airplane. That's pretty cool.
Oh, he had a little special livery
Yes,
on
special.
the JSX, the
Top
Top
Gun.
Gun livery.
I've never seen that
Never
one.
seen that before, huh?
Never seen that one.
Which I guess brings me another question. You're really not a plane spotter.
No, people think I am. That's the funny thing. If people think I'm a plane spotter, I see this day in, day out. This is normal for me. I look at it. I mean, I'll go out there in one of my downtime and sit around and look at airplanes take off and land, and my phone's in my pocket. I'm not sitting there capturing every single thing. It's just nothing. No offense against you, by the way.
Yeah, but I was going to say you do watch our show, so I mean that's probably the extent of your plane spotting.
Yeah, but like most of the time I'll get on there because and I won't say anything. I'm quiet and I'll watch it because it's fun, and because most of the time I'm watching the comments, and I'm want to see if anybody's asking a question so I can help out. So, but I can't stay all the time because I have to go back to work, obviously.
Which brings us to another point. So we were doing our 24-hour live stream at the H Hotel. We were at the very last hour of the stream, and all of a sudden, Alert 2 happens here on 24 Right, which is one of your American A321s, was coming in with gear issues.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think you were watching it because you, I think the next day or the same day, you actually put out a video explaining what was actually occurring in that.
Yep.
I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't realize that you could just release the gear like that and gravity would pull it down. Hello.
That was a loud car.
The sights and sounds of LAX. The traffic.
But that's a good point. So what you brought up there, that particular aircraft, and funny enough, that was the same day Air Force 2 was taking off.
Yes.
Air Force 2 took off that day, and our bird was stuck on the runway, I believe on 25 right.
No, it was 2-4 right. It was right here on the north side.
Sorry, yeah, 2-4. Yeah. So it was stuck right here. So the airplane came in, and they were having trouble dropping the gear.
Right.
If anybody has seen the video that I put out, the gear is dropped, with a gear handle, and it's hydraulically actuated.
Right.
So normally in normal operations, hydraulics would take over, the gear would simply drop, the gear doors would go up, and the airplane lands. This particular moment, something malfunctioned, and the gear could not drop.
Right.
So the alternate method is the gravity drop. So with that particular Airbus 321, the pilots grabbed that handle, rotated it, and that gear released, and the weight of its own, the gear just dropped that gear, and they landed just nice and safe.
Amazing.
So, yeah. Redundancy, as always.
Yeah, but you took to the airwaves, so to speak, to explain that.
I had to, because people start panicking.
Yes.
And just bad information starts getting put out there, because people like to glorify events within aviation, which I don't like when they do that.
But please tell us we don't do that.
No, you guys don't do that. No, this is just media outlets, like big media outlets. Oh, big boy, Delta. 767. I haven't worked that airplane out forever.
I mean, some of those 767, we just saw a Delta 767-300ER, they're approaching, some of them are 31 years of age.
Oh, yeah, they're old.
I guess that's, not jumping to a next topic, but, how is that possible? I thought 31 years. I mean, that's got to be...
Good
yeah.
Maintenance, my friend.
Yeah.
It's all got to do with aircraft maintenance. And, I'm glad you said this, and I'm not going to try to toot my own horn here or anything like that, but I want to represent or shine light. That's the right word. Yeah. Shine light onto the maintenance community. I've always said this, and many of the mechanics I work with and my colleagues, across the pond, we are the ghosts of this industry, very much. We are not seen at all.
Right.
We're hidden away.
Right.
We're the kind of the necessary evil for the airlines sometimes. We're out of the public eye, and most people don't understand that we are there. We're there before you board. We're there after you're board. We're underneath that wing. We're walking around. We're talking to the pilots. We're talking to the crews. So a lot goes on, what we do, that people will never, ever see and never know.
Right.
And one of the other things that I try to do with the social media platforms is bring that to light, to make people understand, look, there's a lot we do. It's not just all maintenance, by the way. It's a big team effort.
Right.
Pilots, rampers, tower, airport ops, everybody. It's a big effort to put these airplanes into the sky.
Right.
But one of the key efforts is maintenance, is putting out that good, safe product. And a lot goes on in the background that most people just don't know.
I mean, so I'm sitting here saying 31 years of age. Mm-hmm. You're looking at me like, no big whoop.
That's no big whoop. Did you see the airplane yesterday, the 737-200, that charter? Or not charter, private one.
Oh, I've seen that photo, yes.
Yeah. You know that airplane's been flying since 1986.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at the MD-1030s and some of those MD-11s with UPS.
Yep.
They're like 40, almost 50.
Yep. It's all got to do with maintenance. All, repetitive inspection, checks, making sure these aircraft are airworthy. Just check, double check, make sure it's working in correct fashion. And also these aircraft are getting upgraded as well. Certain avionics systems,
right.
certain components. So you can extend the life of these airplanes.
There is no limit?
As long as you have proper maintenance and take care of that airplane, these airplanes will pretty much fly almost forever. So, the only thing will take it down is metal fatigue, and even that's fixable.
So honestly, you're saying that we might see these Delta 757s and 767s around for maybe another 15 years? Is that possible? Would that be the first time ever in the history of aviation that these certain aircraft might be, going the long road, so to speak?
I'll put it this way to you. Boeing puts out such a product that it's known for its longevity.
Uh-huh.
Boeing is very good at that. Mm-hmm. They build airplanes that last. 777s to this day, even 57, 67s, these are very tough built airplanes. Right. Even those things right there. 737s. Yes. You can have these flying for a very, very long time.
Okay.
So it's all got to do with proper maintenance, making sure it's getting done. Heavy checks, obviously, are going to get involved. Now, when you going back to what you're saying, seeing these fly for the next 15, 20 years. Here's the trick with that one. Cost effectiveness, or
Right.
you know, how much more money do you want to dump into an old piece of a technology?
Right.
Because the more older it gets, the more expensive it's going to get to fix.
Right.
But if you keep fixing it, it'll keep flying. No problem.
Which is good for you.
Which is good for me. I mean, yeah, that's not a problem. But at one point or another, an airline or a carrier will say, well, you know what? This is not cost effective anymore. First of all, there's better, newer aircraft out there that are more efficient, fuel efficient, obviously, and a lot more mechanic friendly, and the parts are cheaper. We need to get rid of the old fleet. So it's inevitable. I mean, one point or another, they'll get sold or just decommissioned.
All right, so I'll do a better job, Stig, of next time when I see a plane that's 31 years of age, I won't make such a big deal out of it. I won't be, oh my gosh.
No, I mean,
I'll control it.
No,
Bring it
it's
down
all
a few
good.
notches, Kevin. Bring it down. No big whoop. No big whoop.
There you go. Look at this.
Japan Airlines 777-300ER flying over our head. See, to me, you look like you're kind of getting into this. Are we getting you hooked on the whole plane spotting thing?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I love watching airplanes. I'll sit there and I'll watch them all day long. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
But excuse me.
Obviously, the sounds too.
Oh yeah, the jet blast. There you go.
Yes.
But what fascinates me most is, even though I'll sit there and I'll love watching the airplane take off and land, the thing that fascinates me the most is obviously the beauty of it, because it is beautiful. It's almost, you know, the weight of these aircraft is just unthinkable, and you're just looking at this big piece of metal in the sky,
right?
Effortless.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
And for me, the way my brain works is like, oh man, I know exactly what's happening behind those panels.
Wow.
I know what that gear is doing. I know what that actuator is about to do. I know exactly what those proximity sensors are going to do as soon as that gear touches the ground, or when it lifts off, or why the aileron is doing that, or this and that. That's where my brain goes a little bonkers. And then if I want to know more, I'll go dig in my manuals. See what I mean? It's addicting.
You're always learning.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it never stops.
So
that's the thing.
Where do you go from here?
Where do I go from here? That's a good question. I don't know.
You think you've been doing this for the rest of your life, or do you think you'll, I don't know.
I started to realize that I enjoy teaching. I never saw myself as a teacher or anything like that. But I do enjoy teaching in my manner, in my fashion.
Right.
So I don't know where that's going to take me. I hopefully somewhere good.
Right now it's on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, right now there. Oh, nice.
And now we have the SAS Scandinavian A350. Talk about a beautiful plane.
Oh yeah,
a little
right there.
cramped, a little,
I've never been on one, by the way. I haven't had the pleasure of being on one yet.
Wow.
One day. I need to. I'm limited to my fleet.
So, Stig, I mean, there's a lot of young aviation people that want to get into aviation. Some want to be pilots. I'm sure there's some people listening that say, I want to be Stig. I want to be a maintenance person because I love going through the manuals and I love working on planes. What advice can you give? Maybe those up-and-comers, maybe a little advice.
No, well, first and foremost advice, you got to keep that positive attitude. Number one and foremost. Don't allow the negative factors within the industry to bring you down. Right. That's number one. When you are walking into this industry, have an open mind. That's a very, very important thing. And number three is never stop learning and never stop asking questions. This is imperative. You can learn to turn a wrench. You can learn to fix an airplane, but don't allow your learning to stop. I remember very wise words by one of my professors as soon as I got my A&P license, which is the airframe and power plant license. As soon as I got it, and I went back to him, goes, hey, I wanted him to be proud of me. He goes, I got my license now. And he goes, good. He goes, now you start learning. And he was like, what do you mean? He goes, that's right. That's not a license for you to fix an airplane. Right. That's a license to learn.
Right.
Guess what? You're going to be learning for the rest of your life.
On-the-job training. Yes.
Yep. So it's that's the most important thing. Never stop asking questions. Never stop learning, because it's just going to make you a better mechanic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And do the planes get easier to work on from here on out?
Oh, the more technology gets advanced, the easier it gets. Yeah, and on top of that, manuals have gotten even more advanced and much easier to use. So, yeah. Newer airplanes, the job becomes a lot easier. But at the same time, when new airplanes like this do malfunction, remember, it still becomes that troubleshooting. Remember I told you?
Right.
That's the real challenge. So.
Wow, very impressive. Sounds like you need a lot of patience as well. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And willingness. Patience and willingness to learn.
To learn, that's so important.
Mm-hmm. Patience, big thing. You obviously must be a very patient person. I don't think I could do that. Sorry, Stig. I don't think I could. I don't have the patience for that.
I get frustrated when my headphones get tangled up.
Don't even take me to IKEA. I don't want to put furniture together, let alone try to put back together a 787.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Seriously. The running joke is don't go. Who wants to put their furniture together? It takes a certain person to do this job, right?
Yeah. I'm glad. That's a really good point. It's let me put it this way to you. If you're trying to get into this career to make money and just to make money, please don't.
Yeah.
I deter anybody who's like, oh, that's an easy way to make some good money.
Right.
Because, airlines pay great. I'm very happy with my pay. I got amazing benefits, and I love my airline. So, but if you're just getting into this, I'm going to make some money.
Right.
No, don't do it. You're going to be miserable. Because one thing people don't realize when it comes to aviation is you're going to be working night shift. You're going to be working the weekends.
Right.
You're going to have Monday, Tuesday off. And... And you're not going to get any holidays most of the time. You're not going to spend time with your friends. It's not easy.
Well, it sounds like the TV news industry. Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Your social life or your friends goes away. Unless you know how to manage it very well, those beginning stages, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And the work itself, it's demanding. You'll have your senior mechanics and then you'll have junior mechanics. There's attitudes. It's... Yeah. And on top of that, the risk factor. People tend to forget that big old lot behind me, that airport.
Yeah. And
this is the real running joke. That airport is constantly trying to kill you. No joke. If you're not paying attention to what you're doing,
right,
like this.
That's true. you hear the news stories all the time.
Yep. You guys saw this recent one with the tug, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In LaGuardia.
Yeah.
The guy wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And was driving too fast. It's an accident. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you is, can you think of something that has just been like the craziest thing you've seen on the job or the craziest project you've worked on or something that stands in your mind like, did that really just happen?
Yeah, it's got to be one day, one incident that just stands out where you're just like, oh, yes.
Oh, incident as in like a bad incident or just a job?
Anything that just sticks out to you, like, oh, I saw this happen and I can't believe I saw it happen in front of me. Or
oh my goodness, so many times. Airplanes running into blast fences, wingtips being torn off, airplanes hitting each other. I was here when I watched that JetBlue land with the wheel sideways.
Oh,
yeah.
I was there. Watched that happen right in front of me. What else? Just that JetBlue one again with a tug on Charlie 8.
Oh yeah.
I sat there and I watched it. It happened right in front of me.
But we will say that it doesn't happen every day.
It doesn't happen. This is rare. It rarely happens, but it does happen.
Right.
It's just life.
Yeah.
It's just life. Yeah. I've seen birds getting ingested. I've seen rocks bending blades. You name it, I've seen it.
Yeah.
So it's just, you spend long enough time within the aviation world, in the community, and on the airport especially, you're going to see it. People doing, by accident, damaging aircraft. Yeah, it happens.
I would imagine the first time you witnessed something like that, it was probably a little shocking, maybe traumatizing, but as you continue to do this, you're like, oh, there we go again.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you see it, the first thing that runs through my mind goes, did anybody get hurt?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that always goes through my head. Does anybody get hurt? No, don't worry about it. It'll get fixed. It's a piece of metal. yeah, just throw money at it. It will get fixed as long as nobody gets hurt. That's when it really hurts me, when I see somebody get hurt.
Right.
Like I said, these airplanes are unforgiving. They don't care.
Right.
People will get hurt, and these airplanes will be like, don't care. But that's the main thing for me. Like, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. If they make a mistake, something bad happens, if they don't get hurt, who cares? Airplane's an airplane. We'll get fixed.
I mean, this whole conversation, we've been talking about an hour now. I mean, what I'm taking away is safety.
Yes.
Is the ultimate top priority.
Yes.
With you guys.
Absolutely.
And the airport, the airlines, and everything. So,
absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So, Stig, now where can people find your great social media accounts?
Oh, okay. Well, the handle is Stig Aviation, one word. One word, I said.
Oh, yes.
Stig
Reference to, yes. Anyway.
Yeah, the handle is Stig Aviation, and you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok, on Twitter.
Are you on YouTube?
I'm on YouTube as well.
Oh.
But it's very difficult to run multiple social media platforms when you're all by yourself.
Yes.
I have enough trouble just keeping up just with TikTok and Instagram, because one thing I do have that most everybody that knows me, I talk to everybody.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my downfall. because anybody that ever messages me, asks me a question, I respond to every single person.
Wow.
Every single person.
That's opened up floodgates now.
Oh yeah, and especially, and if you see the stories I do on Instagram, sometimes I'll do a quiz question, and I never put the answer up, and people I think I get maybe close to 2,000 answers a day. And
yeah, I think I recently asked you. You mentioned something about the Pitot tubes on the vertical stabilizer, right?
On the 737.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even realize that there was one on the tail.
Yep, it's for the artificial feel for the elevator.
Always learn something new with Stig.
Wow.
And I go back and I answer every single one, every single person, and my mentality is, you took time out of your day because of your curiosity, and you asked the question, or you wanted to know why. Guess what? You took your time. I'm going to take my time to answer it, because that's only fair. You want to know, who am I to not give you the answer?
Right.
So.
Right.
Amazing.
I try. It's a lot of effort when it comes to that, but I still try.
Again, it's Stig Aviation. All one word, right?
Yep. Stig Aviation. One word.
Spell it.
STIG.
Okay.
AVIATION.
ON.
We'll have the link in the link to your profile in the
you
description.
can find me. You can find me on there. I haven't done much on YouTube yet, but I'll start putting out a little more content on there as well. It's going to be basically the repeat of what you see on Instagram and TikTok, and then maybe I'll do some variation of something.
Are we going to get the cooking show back?
Yes, you'll get the cooking show back.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, this was a lot of fun, you guys.
Yes.
This was. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on the Plane Jockeys podcast.
I loved it.
Such a pleasure to have you. Great to finally meet you in person, too. Thanks for joining us today.
And the fun part, these two guys actually got to see my face.
Oh, yes. Mum's the word. All right. We'll check you guys out next time on the Plane Jockeys podcast.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Well, folks, we finally made it. That's good, because the first officer and I have talked so much, I feel like I know him better than my brother.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Plane Jockeys Podcast, a companion to Airline Videos Live.
Goodbye.
Find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Airline Videos, or visit airlinevideos.com. On behalf of the entire crew, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again on the next Plane Jockeys Podcast. Bye-bye.